In a far corner of the galaxy, beyond the red star of Vemrus, floated the shining world of Zelira, a beautiful planet of crystal towers, silver rivers, and glowing skies. It was home to the proud and mysterious Zeliran Empire, one of the oldest alien civilizations in the stars. Their people were known for their psychic powers. With a single thought, they could move objects, speak across light years, or read a person's emotions. But even among these powerful beings, there was one name that many feared to speak. Princess Virella. She was the only daughter of the Empress of Zelira, a royal with unmatched psychic strength. But she never appeared without her silver veil. The Yuao story told across the stars was always the same. Anyone who saw the princess's real face would go mad, driven into darkness by some ancient, hidden curse. Many tried to bond with her, ambassadors, warriors, even noble heirs from distant planets. They all failed. Some ran away, others screamed in fear. A few never spoke again. So the galaxy whispered about the cursed princess, and no one dared approach her again, until the humans arrived. Earth was new to the Galactic Council. Their technology was not as advanced, but their willpower and courage were admired after. They survived a brutal war with a machine race called the Varnax. Now, Earth had a seat at the council, and they sent one of their best to represent them, Commander Elias Rain. He was tall, with sharp eyes and a calm face. A former soldier turned diplomat. Many aliens found him strange. Humans had no psychic gifts, yet he stood with confidence among them. When Elias heard about the veiled princess, he didn't laugh or fear her like the others. Instead, he asked questions. Has anyone tried to talk to her like a person, he asked. They fear her curse, a council member replied. You should stay away, human, for your own mind's safety. But Elias only smiled. I've faced machines that tried to burn my soul, he said. One alien princess isn't going to scare me. The Zeliran elders were surprised when Elias requested a private meeting with Princess Virella. At first they refused, but the Empress herself, watching from her floating palace, gave a small nod. Let the human try, she said. Maybe he will see what others cannot. The chamber was round and quiet, with walls made of soft crystal that hummed like music. Elias walked inside slowly, dressed in a simple black uniform. His boots echoed on the glass floor. In the center stood the princess. She wore a long gown that sparkled like starlight. A delicate veil covered her face, shining with tiny lights. But her voice, when she spoke, was clear and gentle. You are not afraid, Virella said. Why? Elias stopped a few steps away from her. He bowed slightly out of respect, not fear. Because I believe your face isn't cursed, he replied. Only misunderstood. Silence filled the chamber. No one has said that before, she whispered. He looked at her calmly. I came here to build peace between our worlds, but I also came because I wanted to meet you, not your legend. The princess tilted her head. What if the legend is true? What if you lose your mind? Elias chuckled. Then I hope I go crazy with a good story, she smiled beneath her veil, just a little. For the first time in many years, she didn't feel like a ghost, she felt like herself. They talked for an hour, about Earth, about Zelira, about music and war and how stars sound when you listen with your mind. Virella didn't try to hide behind her titles, and Elias didn't try to impress her, he just listened, and she felt heard. When the guards came to end the meeting, Virella spoke quietly. Would you return tomorrow? Elias nodded. Gladly. Outside the chamber, the other delegates were shocked. You spoke with her? Asked a purple-skinned traitor. And you're not shaking? She's intelligent. Funny too, Elias replied. I think most people forget she's a person. A few laughed nervously. Others looked away. But the Zeliran nobles watched with interest and some with anger. Later that night, the Empress spoke with her daughter through a mental link. You like the human, she said. Virella nodded slowly. He sees me, not the veil. You know what bonding means, the Empress warned. The risk is great. If you try and fail, he could suffer. Virella looked out at the stars from her balcony. I know, but maybe it's time someone tried again. Far across the stars, Earth's communication satellite picked up a message from Elias. Met the princess. She's nothing like the stories. I think she's been living in a prison of fear for far too long. I'm going back tomorrow, maybe I can open the door. The next day, the crystal chamber was quiet again. The stars outside Zelira's orbit glowed like lanterns in a sea of darkness. Inside, Princess Virella stood near a floating table of light. Her hands were calm, but her heart was not. She had not felt nervous in years, but now she waited for the human. The door opened with a soft sound. Commander Elias Rain stepped in, dressed in the same black uniform. No weapons, no armor, just honesty in his eyes. You returned, Virella said, her voice softer than yesterday. I said I would, Elias smiled. You asked me to. She gave a small nod. Most who meet me never return. Well, I've never been like most. Virella gestured to the table. It glowed and formed 2 chairs from blue light. Elias sat across from her, leaving space between them. He respected her boundaries. That mattered to her. Today they spoke not just of planets or politics, but about childhood, pain, and pressure. Virella told him how she had to wear the veil since she was 10, not because of a curse, but because people believed in one. A boy looked at my face once, she said quietly. He screamed, he fell, and he never woke up. Elias didn't flinch. What caused it? They say my psychic field lashed out. I never meant to hurt anyone. Maybe the problem isn't your face, Elias said. Maybe it's how others approach your mind. Virella looked up. You sound like my old teacher. She said the same before she vanished. Elias leaned forward. Then let me ask something. Bold. Can we try a mind link? She froze. No one had asked that in years. You want to bond with me? She whispered. Yes. Not as your life mate. Just for trust. For truth. If you go mad, I won't. Elias said simply. You won't hurt me, I trust that. Virella stood silently. The room dimmed. She raised her hand and touched the air. Glowing symbols appeared. She sent a pulse of thought toward him. Open your mind. I'll be gentle. Elias closed his eyes. A soft warmth entered his thoughts, like stepping into water. At first it was calm. Echoes of music, laughter, memories of stars and learning. He saw young Virella, laughing in a garden with her teacher. Then, fear, darkness, a crowd, shouting, pain. The moment she was blamed, her, emotions poured into him, not like an attack, but like waves crashing gently. Elias did not fight. He simply felt. You were a child, he whispered. You needed help, not fear. Virella's mind trembled. You're not scared? No. I see you. Not the veil. Her thoughts wrapped around his like silk. They stood, together in a memory, a peaceful one. She was showing him a dream she'd had often, flying above Zelira free, without the veil. I want to be like that, she said. Free. But they won't let me. Elias took her virtual hand. Then let's show them the truth. The link slowly ended. They both opened their eyes. No screams, no madness, no fear, just silence. You're still here, she said, amazed. Told you I would be. Her veil glowed brighter. You're the first who didn't force your way into my mind. You asked, you listened. That changed everything. The door suddenly opened. A Zeliran guard stepped in. The council has summoned both of you, he said with a sharp voice. At once. The Galactic Council Hall was massive, shaped like a star. Delegates from over 50 worlds sat around the edge, watching with glowing eyes. The human ambassador team stood to one side. The Zeliran nobles stood to the other. In the middle, Elias and Virella stood together. The human has linked with the princess, shouted one elder. It is dangerous, irresponsible. He broke no law, another said. He was invited. Then explain why he remains sane, an angry alien hissed. Elias stepped forward. There is no curse, he said calmly. I bonded with her. I saw her memories. She is powerful but not dangerous. She's been alone because of fear and lies. You expect us to believe that? Asked a tall insectoid. No. I expect you to test it yourselves. Open your minds if you dare. Murmurs spread. Varela raised her hand. I will bond with anyone here who asks, but only if they treat me like a person, not a weapon. The room was stunned. A reptilian noble slowly stepped forward. I would like to try. The princess nodded. A moment later, the two connected. Briefly, the noble gasped, not in pain but in awe. She showed me a garden. I felt her kindness, he said, shocked. No madness, no curse. The council began to shift. Belief started to crack. And in its place, truth was rising. That evening, Elias and Varela stood under the twin moons of Zelira. The wind was cool. She removed her veil slightly, just enough to let her face feel the night air. I never thought I'd find peace in a human, she said softly. And I never thought I'd find a friend in a princess, he replied. She smiled. You opened, a door no one else dared to touch. You unlocked it from the inside. Together they looked up at the stars. This was just the beginning. Commander Elias Rain sat alone in a quiet garden outside the royal palace. It was late at night on Zelira, and the stars above twinkled like slow-moving fireflies. The soft wind carried the scent of glowing flowers and silver trees. But Elias wasn't thinking about nature. He was thinking about what he saw inside the princess's mind. There was no curse, no evil spirit, no monster hiding behind her face. What he saw was something far worse, a girl forgotten and feared by her own people. Suddenly, soft footsteps echoed on the marble path. He turned to see Princess Varela, dressed in a simple robe, her face still, hidden by her veil. You couldn't sleep either? She asked. Elias shook his head. No, I keep thinking about what we saw. Your memories. That moment when the boy fell. Your fear. Varela sat beside him. I still see it sometimes in my dreams. Not his face, but the fear in everyone else's eyes. Elias looked up at the sky. You weren't the danger. Their fear was. She looked down. But what if there's more inside me? Something broken? Something that hurts people without warning? Elias turned toward her. Then let me go deeper into your mind. Let me help you find out. Together. She hesitated. The last person who tried, he couldn't take it. I'm not him. Varela took a deep breath. Then she reached out, her hand. Okay, let's try. They returned to the crystal chamber. The lights dimmed to a soft blue. Elias sat across from Varela. Their hands touched gently, fingers resting against one another. Then her voice whispered inside his mind. Follow me, but do not push. Let me guide you. The mental bond began. Elias's vision went white, then slowly filled with shapes and sounds. He was now standing inside Varela's mind. A strange, floating space of stars, memories, and glowing doors. Each door was a moment from her life, some open, some locked. He looked around. This is beautiful. Varela appeared beside him, her form shining like a star in a dress. These are the safe parts, but you wanted to see the deep places. I trust you. She nodded and led him toward a large black door chained with golden locks. This is where the boy's memory lives, she said. The one who went mad. The one they say I cursed. Can we open it? We can try. Together they reached for the chains. As soon as they touched them, a loud sound echoed in the mindscape. The door opened slowly and a wave of sharp emotion hit Elias like wind. Fear, confusion, pain. Then he saw it. A memory. A young Varela sat in a garden. A boy her age walked up to her, smiling. They had been friends. He reached to lift her veil. curious and playful. She didn't stop him. She wanted to be seen. But when the veil came off, something happened. A wave of wild energy burst from her, not from hate or anger, but from a deep automatic defense, like a frightened animal. Her power lashed out without control. The boy collapsed, his mind shattered from the psychic overload. Elias stared at the memory. You didn't mean to hurt him. You didn't even know how to control your powers. Virella's voice trembled. They told me I was dangerous, that I should stay veiled forever. No one helped you understand your gift. That's the real crime. Then Elias saw something else, another memory, hidden behind the first. He stepped through the vision and found a woman's voice, echoing softly. It was Virella's teacher, the one who disappeared. She didn't vanish, Elias whispered. She was removed, silenced. She knew the truth. Virella nodded slowly. She believed I wasn't cursed, that I had a rare form of psychic energy. A mirror mind. A mirror mind, Elias asked. It reflects back what others project. If someone enters with fear or force, the energy reacts violently. But if they come with calm and care, like me, Elias finished. She said I needed someone strong, with a steady mind to help me find balance. But before she could train me, the council took her away. Anger burned in Elias's chest. They let you suffer to protect their own fear. Suddenly, the mindscape began to shake. The dark door trembled. A voice, not Virella's, whispered, from the edges. You were never meant to bond, never meant to be free. A fake curse, placed like a parasite in her mind by someone else. A psychic suggestion, designed to scare her, to control her. Elias stood in front of her. I'll shield you, remove it. You can't, you're not psychic. No, Elias said, but I'm human, and we don't back down. He focused all his emotions, his courage, his strength, his belief in her, and sent it forward like a mental shield. The dark voice screamed, cracking like glass. The chains shattered. Light filled the space. Then everything went silent. Elias opened his eyes. He was back in the chamber. Sweat dripped down his neck. Virella sat across from him, her veil slightly lifted. You did it, she whispered. The fake curse is gone. Elias breathed slowly. So are the lies. They looked at each other, really looked. Virella reached up and lifted her veil just an inch more. Her skin glowed like moonlight. Her eyes were bright with stars. You saw my mind, she said. Would you see my face too? Elias smiled. I'd be honored. She removed the veil completely. No one screamed. No one went mad. She was beautiful, not in a human way, but in a way that made the stars look dull, and, for the first time in her life, she was free. News of the princess unveiling her face spread across the palace like wildfire. The servants whispered. The nobles argued. The guards stared in confusion. No one had ever seen the princess without her veil, and now a human had seen her first. Worse. He was still alive. In fact, he looked calmer and stronger than ever. Elias Rain stood in the palace courtyard with Virella beside him. Her veil was gone now, and though her psychic aura still glowed faintly, it felt peaceful. Balanced, she had nothing to hide anymore. But not everyone was ready for the truth. The royal council held an emergency meeting in the upper tower. The room was full of echoing voices, nervous claws tapping on tables and alien eyes darting from shadow to light. We cannot allow this madness to continue, said a counselor with golden scales. She was veiled to protect us all. Then why is the human not broken? Argued another. Why is he standing with her, clear-minded? She could be controlling him, snapped a tall creature with 6 arms. Or, Elias said as he stepped into the chamber, maybe you've been wrong this entire time. Everyone turned. Virella entered behind him, walking proudly. She looked at the council, without fear, without a veil. Gasps filled the air. Some counselors looked away. Others froze. But none screamed. Do I look cursed? Virella asked. Do I look dangerous? A long silence. Then the Grand Chancellor stood, his voice cold. Princess, you risk great danger by removing the veil. I've lived in fear long enough, she replied. You placed that fear in me. Now I know the truth. Elias stepped forward. There is no curse, it was a lie. A psychic infection placed in her mind to keep her hidden. Lies, someone shouted. She could destroy us. No, Virella said calmly. I only destroy fear. And fear is what you've been feeding for years. The Chancellor clenched his jaw. And if you are wrong, if your power fails again, then we face it, not alone, but together, Elias said. She is not your weapon. She is your leader. Another silence. Tense. Heavy. Suddenly the Chancellor raised his hand. Guards, detain them both. Before the guards could react, Virella lifted her hand, gently, not to attack, but to reveal. From her mind she projected the memory of the false curse. The moment it was planted, the face of the counselor responsible. The chamber gasped as the vision showed the truth. A psychic elder had inserted the fear to control the royal line. That elder now trembled in the corner, exposed. You wanted me locked away forever, Virella said to him. Afraid I would lead, with freedom, not fear. The council turned on the elder. Guards surrounded him and he was taken away silently. Elias looked at the rest. Now you know. So the question is, will you accept her, or stay in chains made of lies? The Chancellor said nothing, but others began to nod. Virella raised her voice one last time. I do not want revenge. I want to lead my people into the stars, without hiding, without fear. And for the first time, the chamber applauded. Later that evening, Elias and Virella stood on the palace balcony, watching the glowing sky. Dozens of ships hovered silently in orbit, some human, some Zelliran, some from other species. We did it, Elias said, smiling. Not yet, Virella replied. There's one more thing I must do. She walked to the edge and activated a transmitter. Her voice was sent across every corner of the planet and beyond. This is Princess Virella of Zellira. To my people, your princess no longer wears a veil. To the stars, I was never cursed. I was misunderstood. And to those who still fear me, I offer you peace. I offer you truth. Across the planet, screens lit up. People saw her uncovered face, her calm expression, her powerful eyes. And slowly hearts began to change. But far beyond Zellira, a dark ship floated in silence, hidden in a shadow region of space. A council of ancient observers, powerful beings from the old galactic order, watched the broadcast. One of them clicked its claws. She is awakening. Another's voice hissed like smoke. She broke the control code. The curse failed. A third spoke, colder than the stars. And a human helped her. They turned toward a hologram of Elias Rain. His image glowed in blue. He must be removed, one said, before he awakens more of them. He is just one man. Yes, said the coldest one, but he's human. The screen shut off. And a silent order was given. The hunt would begin soon. Back on Zellira, Elias walked through the palace halls unaware of the distant threat. But he felt something in his chest, a whisper of danger, a faint tension in the stars. Virella joined him. You feel it too? She asked. He nodded. Someone out there didn't like what we did. She touched his hand. Then we'll face them together. He smiled. You sure you want to fight alongside a human? You're not just a human, she said. You're the only one who saw me, and stayed. They stood beneath the night sky, stars blinking above. Whatever came, next they would face it together. Days passed after Princess Virella's broadcast. Across Zellira, people began to accept the truth. Some were slow, unsure. Others were inspired. The veil had been more than cloth. It had been fear. And now, it was gone. Elias Rain stayed at Virella's side, helping rebuild trust between humans and Zelirans. But he could still feel something was wrong. At night, he woke from strange dreams, shadows chasing him, cold eyes watching from the dark. One morning, a message arrived. It came from deep space. No name, no warning, just 4 words. You were not allowed. The signal was traced. It came from the obsidian void, a dead zone where old enemies had once vanished. Varela looked at Elias. They're coming. Who are they? Elias asked. The ancient observers, she said softly. They ruled long before my people. Before yours, they kept balance, but only through control. They fear what we did, Elias said, because we broke that control. Varela nodded. Together, the first ship arrived without a sound. It was massive, black like space, shaped like a long blade. It hovered above Zelira without attacking. Then came 10 more. Then a fleet. People panicked. They've come to erase us, said the Zeliran chancellor. Varela stepped onto the palace balcony. Her voice was calm, steady. No, they came to erase fear. But we are not afraid anymore. She turned to Elias. We must go to them. Talk. Fight if needed. But only if they leave no choice. Elias smiled. I've fought worse than old. Ghosts. Varela raised a brow. Really? He laughed. No, but I'm still going. Aboard their royal ship, Varela and Elias flew toward the lead observer vessel. They were joined by a few trusted guards and 2 human diplomats. The moment they entered the enemy ship, they felt it. Cold air, no light, silence deeper than death. A tall creature waited inside. It wore a robe of stars and had no mouth. Its voice echoed in their minds. You broke the seal. The curse was not meant to be lifted. Varela stepped forward. It was a lie. The veil protected the galaxy from chaos. No, Elias said. It protected you from change. The creature turned its head. Your bond is a threat to the balance. The princess was never meant to bond. You were never meant to see her. Then you don't understand what true balance is, Varela said. Balance is not silence, it is voice, it is choice. The creature hissed in anger. Then you choose destruction. Lights flickered. The floor shook. Dozens of black-armored beings stepped out of the shadows surrounding them. Varela closed her eyes. Her psychic field flared, but this time it was calm, focused. Not fear, not defense, unity. Elias stepped beside her, lifting a small device. I knew you might say that. He pressed the button. From above the planet, a fleet of human ships uncloaked, weapons ready. And beside them, hundreds of Zeliran fighters, piloted by those who once feared the princess, now standing behind her. The observer's voice trembled. They will die for you. No, Varela said. They live for something greater now. The creature lifted its hand. The room darkened. Then, it attacked. The battle in space began, cold, fast, and deadly. Observer ships fired beams that bent light. Human and Zeliran vessels dodged, countered, and struck back. The sky above Zelira lit up with fire. Inside the enemy ship, Elias and Varela fought side by side. Her mind shielded them from psychic attacks. His hands fired blasts from a kinetic pulse gun. Guards fell, enemies rose, but neither backed down. Then, the lead observer appeared again, its true form glowing with strange light. You cannot stop time, it growled. Elias grinned. We're not here to stop time. We're here to start a new one. The observer lunged at him. Varela stepped in between, her hands glowing bright. She focused every ounce of her mind, not to attack, but to reflect. Mirror mind. The observers? Hate bounced back, multiplied. It shrieked, folding in on itself, collapsing into silence. Peace returned to the ship. Outside, the observer fleet, leaderless and confused, began to retreat. Some exploded. Some vanished into the void. And then, it was over. The stars grew quiet. Zelira was free. No more veils. No more lies. No more ancient watchers holding invisible chains. Virella returned to the palace as a queen, not just in title, but in truth. Her people welcomed her with open arms. Children ran in the streets, wearing veils no more. Elias stood beside her. Humans offered peace treaties, trade, and help in rebuilding. Together, their people began building a new space station, a symbol of unity. But one night, as they stood alone in the garden, Elias looked up. "They'll come again," he said. "The observers, or something worse." "I know," she whispered. He turned to her. "Are you scared?" She smiled. "No, because this time, they will fear us." He took her hand. And they should. They kissed under a sky that no longer belonged to old powers, a sky that belonged to them.